Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe. I'm a sales and marketing coach and strategist for health coaches, life coaches, and wellness professionals who want to become a leader in their field by building their online community, rocking their sales process, and finally feeling confident about how they promote themselves and their marketing. On this show, we talk about tips to grow your business, save yourself time, and finally be able to create a sustainable, profitable business. Let's get into it. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Zero to Hero Coach Program. This is my 4-month program teaching coaches and online service providers how to grow your online business, book clients consistently, overcome your sales fears, and finally rock your social media visibility. If you struggle to create a sustainable coaching business, this program is for you. Check out HaileyRowe.com and book your free strategy call with my team or myself today. Thank you.
I'm ready to provide some killer value today. So
Yay. Well, we are live, and I'm here today with Coach T. And he is going to be talking with us today about a couple different things: client retention, time management as an entrepreneur, maybe answering a couple questions about Facebook ads and things like that. So we're just going to dive in. But first, why don't you share with our audience who you are, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. I have a keen love for my fellow entrepreneurs, especially, people who are looking to make an impact in the world, coaches, consultants, etc. So I'm originally from New York City, and I didn't have the best upbringing. I was in a place literally where, I had to hide in the cars because of shootouts. I had to, I grew up with people living in my house that was addicted to drugs. I was around gangs, violence, and literally it could have been easy for me to be a statistic. And that's just the environment that I knew. And I didn't choose it. That was just what I was kind of born into. So one of the things that really changed it for me is I had a cousin who wanted to go to college out in Virginia. And I said, hey, I know what this environment look like. So I decided to go to college. Well, long story short, I got to college. And I remember my mother giving me a phone call like, Terrell, college is going to be very expensive. Click. And I'm looking like, wait. I'm like, hold on. Right. Like, but people tend to be more resourceful when you get some certain resources taken away from you. So I had a friend who approached me with an opportunity to start business. And this is how I originally got into business. And so it was a network marketing company. So I started doing that. And that's when I got my excitement for business. Well, graduated college and ended up working in corporate America, making 6 figures doing cybersecurity. But I looked around and I'm like, wait, none of these college students that I knew, a lot of my fraternity brothers, everybody else, they're not making the progress that they, that you spend all of this money on college. Like, how expensive college is, Hailey, right? I know a lot of us know. So I decided when I first hung my hat as a coach, I said, I want to make sure that I can help. Let me coach these college students to be able to get into their career field. This was about 5 years ago, right? So I was doing that, but I was very frustrated in a place where I know a lot of us are starting at, as we're watching this, is what do I do, right? I had the knowledge in my head to help this audience, right? But how do I start? What do I do? What's the next step? How do I grow this thing? How do I keep clients? How do I do that? So I was in a place where that I had to do a lot of research, digging, trying to figure things out. And throughout my navigation and discovery of finding myself in business, I got excited about business. And then I got excited about helping coaches and speakers. Long story, fast forward, now I'm in a place where, we're blessed enough to, be impacting over 500,000 people online. Being able to, I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, seminars, workshops, boot camps, 3-time author. We have online certification master classes, and specifically focused on helping people with coaching and being able to grow and scale a business. So it's been a blessing.
Love that. Yeah. So if somebody wants to be a coach and they want to be a good coach, what are some tips or things you'd say? Because at the end of the day, getting clients is one part of the process, but keeping your clients is really, if you can do that, you're going to be having a sustainable, healthy business, right? So how does somebody become a better coach? What are some tips or like takeaways you'd say when it comes to that?
Yeah, I love it. So being a better coach is essential, right? So starting off like this. So let's say you have an idea, right? And you know who you want to help and you know the demographic. Taking a step back is very important. I know a lot of us have issues with saying, I can help people in this, and I can help this, and I can help this. And it's hard for you to name a topic. And then if you have a topic, it says, well, my topic could help the world. I can help everybody, which you might be able to, right? We know, we've been in this for a minute. Hailey said, we know, and we see this all the time. But from a marketing perspective, I want you to select one. And the reason why I want you to select an audience is because when it comes time for you to coach, mentor, when it comes time for you to give advice, it's going to be very specific based on your knowledge, your experiences. It's going to connect with that person in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like I had somebody who literally this same story I told you, and I told y'all about how my upbringing, what happened, and how into the cars and all that was crazy. Is I remember getting a client one time, and I was on a call, I was on a consultation call with her, and she was like, you know what, honestly, what really made me, what made me sign up is because you didn't have everything given to you like me. Right. You had to, figure it out, and you wasn't born in the best circumstances or XYZ. And she was like, it was that story that really made me connect. But I wouldn't have been able to tell my story if I didn't know who I was really talking to or really connecting to. Right. So first thing I would say is that, it's best if you're a coach and you want to help a certain demographic or audience, and you want to be a better coach, it's about practice, but it's also about digging into your own experiences, digging into knowing who your audience is. What do they struggle with? What do they need help with? What are their goals? What makes them stay up at night? Like really understanding the psychology of your audience. So when you're having that conversation, you can be able to really motivate them to transform their life.
Love that. And yeah, your story is really, inspiring. And I think that when we open with our story and why we're doing what we're doing, that's much more attractive and a good way to stand out compared to just saying, I'm a coach and I do this, right?
Right, exactly.
So that said, like I hear a lot of coaches who say, I don't know what makes me special, or I don't know how to stand out because I feel like it's so saturated on Instagram or whatever, right? So how does somebody, I know we can share our story, but what are some other ways to stand out in a crowded market?
Oh, I love that. Great question, right? It's one of the main things I help people with, right? Because you're absolutely 100% right. You looking everywhere. It's so easy for us to become a commodity, right? So when you trying to put yourself out there, it's like, oh, well, you're a life coach, right? Or you're a health coach or a fitness coach or relationship coach. You look around, I got 10,000 other options. Why do I need to go to you, right? Why do I need to go to Hailey for this? Or I need to go to Samantha, whoever for this, right? Or John. So in order to really stand out, there's a process that I've coined. It's called the brand ladder. And basically what this process is each and every step of this ladder is going to continuously separate you from everybody else. Right? Obviously, we don't have time to go through, the whole thing, the whole process, right? But with that, I will give you one of the key things, right? One of the key things that can separate you is being yourself and being authentic, right? So when you're truly yourself, people are going to connect to you. And it's people who are going to identify with your personality. You got to remember there's different personality types, right? And you don't necessarily vibe with everybody the most. For example, the world's number one motivational speaker today, his name is Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, right? And I know him on a first name basis. And I remember having a conversation with him. And he was like, you know what? He said, to be honest, he said, yes, I'm considered, the top guy, right? Over, the Tony Robbins or the other, some other people out there, right? And he said, but he said, to be honest, my personality may not vibe with everybody. He was like, because he's like, I'm loud, I'm kind of in your face, I'm kind of like, come on, like I'm gonna drag you to success, right? And but he was like, some people will be motivated by that and excited by it, but other people feel like, whoa, like this is a little bit too much for me. I kind of need you to settle down, buddy. Right? I kind of need a little bit more calmer energy. So with that, he's attracting, and he's the top guy because he's been himself and been authentic. So he's attracted, and you don't need the whole world attracted to you. But there's people who are specifically going to be attracted to specifically you, your style, what you've been through, your story, you know, your personality. And the more you're able to step into your own yourself, the more you're going to be able to attract people.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that comes, one way I like to also explain it is like, we all have our different approaches, our different styles, and our different personalities. So like, for example, Jillian Michaels is totally different than the Blogilates girl, right? Casey Ho, I think is her name. So those two people, they both work out, they both promote healthy lifestyle, but they are completely different. And the other thing that I compare to is music. Like, there's a million pop stars. There's Ariana Grande, there's Billie Eilish.
Right.
They're both amazing, but they are completely different, right? So I think that you brought up a really good point there. Now, what if they're like, well, okay, I have a personality, but I'm pretty boring. Like, I think I'm just boring. I don't think there's anything special about me. What do you say to that?
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, it's just about, honestly, it just go out and just help your audience and do what you do, right? You don't have to think about, doing a song and dance, and you see everybody, you see the TikTok videos, and then you see all the challenges, and you see all the stuff out there, and you feel like you have to keep up with everybody. Really, at the end of the day, as long as you're being yourself and you're putting out content, the main thing that you want to make sure is that what you're putting out is very helpful to your audience, and you're switching it up. So it's less about, am I boring? And it's more about, you got to give some people some level of energy, right? You don't want to be, hello, my name is Sasha, and right, you don't want to have, you do have to have some level of energy for people to be attracted to you. However, you don't gotta be like me, like excited. You don't have to be like that. However, it's more about putting out content that's going to help your people, and then switching that up. For example, so one of the things that I help people with is putting out different types of content to attract their target audience, right? So one video is a selfie video, right? If you comfortable even going on video, this is probably the video that you do the most, and you're talking this way. But then you have one that's called direct to camera, which is basically no hands, right? This is just how we kind of speaking, right? Both of my hands are free, and I'm having a conversation with you, right? You can get interviewed, right? So like this, what we're doing now is like interview style, right? What if you got interviewed and then you took a clip of this and then you put this on your Instagram, or you put this on your Facebook or your YouTube, right? Right. So, you could do that. Testimonials, right? If you go to my page on my IG, you'll see testimony after testimony after testimony. We've got viral videos, right? So it's not about you having to just do something whiz bang to attract people, but it's about how are you providing value in different ways that's going to impact people in different ways, so they can want to follow you, be attracted to you, and eventually want to work with you. Yeah,
absolutely. So the other thing when it comes to booking clients and some of the different offers that you have quite a few different offers, right? So tell me a little bit more about some tips to retain your clients, upsells, downsells. Like, tell me a little more about how you've structured your offers and how you deliver in a way that clients come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So your goal, kind of starting out, I'll do like pre-client and then kind of like post-client, what you after you do, right? So from an attract and a clientele perspective, what you put out in the world is what you're going to attract, right? So realize that if you want to help a certain demographic or audience, if I sat down with you, we had some coffee, and I said, okay, show me your Instagram or show me your Facebook, pulled up your Instagram, and you say that you want to attract entrepreneur women who aren't confident, for example, right? And I looked at your profile, and I don't see you talking about confidence. I don't see you talking about entrepreneurship. I don't see you talking about nothing to help. If you want to help moms, I should see you talking about moms. I should see you coaching moms. I should see you doing those things, right? So that's one, because when somebody's attracted to you, at that point in time, they already need what you have. It's just about setting up a dialogue so they can work with you. Okay, so that's that. Now, once you actually start getting clients, right? From a retention standpoint, I'm gonna give you the 3 C's. This is actually what I teach in my program, but I'm gonna give y'all this because y'all Hailey's people. So I gotta show you some love, right? So I'm gonna give y'all 3 C's. And actually, I think I'm gonna do something that's interesting. I'm gonna do something different. Let's go ahead and do this real quick. I'm gonna show y'all this. Right? Maybe you can see this.
Yep, I can see it. For people who listen to the podcast, listen.
All right, so I'm gonna share with y'all the 3 C's. Okay, So the first C, when it comes to retaining, that means you have a client, right? So your goal is you want to keep them as long as possible. You want to extend what we call the lifetime value of your client. Okay. Instead of them quitting on you next month, you want them to stay with you for 2 years, right? Since the inception of my group coaching program, I've had people who've been with me over 2 years since I launched it over 2 years ago. Okay. First thing is, and excuse my handwriting, it's chicken scratch. First thing, number one, clarity, right? Clarity. When we talk about clarity, the reason people will quit your coaching program is because they don't know what to do. They're overwhelmed. There's just, I don't know what my next steps are. And nobody's crazy enough to keep paying you if they're not making progress. They're not clear on the next step. They don't know where they should start. So one of the things you want to make sure is that your program is structured in a way that's going to allow people to always know what the next step is. So you need to come up with like your own map or your own guide or some process that you can hand somebody. You can hand somebody and say, here, our process to help our clients and our members is so structured and so dialed in that I could go on a month vacation and they know exactly what to do. Let that be the filter. Okay, are they clear? If they're not clear on that, you need to work on it because they're going to quit very soon on you. Second, does that make sense, Hailey? Right? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. First, that's second thing. Next, this is a big one. So we're gonna write that one bigger. Content. So from a content perspective, you want, and actually let me make this more clear. Content consumption. What's interesting about that is that when somebody if somebody comes, so they want to learn from you, right? If you have people who join your program, and everybody has it, nobody's exempt from this, but you're going to have people who are going to join your coaching program and they're just not going to show up to the calls, or they're not watching the videos, or they're just not engaged. Nobody is insane enough that they're going to stay with you if they don't feel like they're getting value, because the only way that they're going to get value is if they're learning from you, if they're talking to you over the phone, whether it's one-on-one or whether you're doing group. Right? Whether they're watching the replays, whether they're filling out the worksheets that you're giving them, right? If they're not consuming any of the content that you're producing for them, they're gonna eventually say, they're gonna look at their bank statement one day and they're gonna say, why am I paying for this again? Like, what is this for again? Cancel. So that's very key. It's very key that you're doing that. So your goal within your coaching program is to get people to consume more content. Right. So that means that coaching sessions, and if they can't make the live one-on-one sessions, give them a replay, send them videos, give them worksheets, tell them they got free tickets to a live event or a virtual event or something. Give them something that they could continually feed from and learn, and they're going to feel like they're getting value. More value that they get, the longer they're going to stay with you. And I'll give you a third one as a bonus. The third one is community, right? So when people join, I hear things over and over and over. For people, they say, I want to be held accountable. I've been procrastinating. A lot of us as coaches and consultants, like we feel that, we understand it, right? I feel like I need that coaching. I mean, I need people around me. I need the social accountability. And to achieve that easier, and so it's not so much stress on you, is you want to get people surrounded, and you want to get people as part of a community. If you can get them connecting with other people, collaborating, doing things together. Like we got members as part of our program where literally, like, without my intervention, they get together, they go out for lunch, they attend each other's programs, they they connect, they get on calls together, they helping each other out, right? And that's what I love, because that's going to make it more sticky. That's going to make your program more sticky, because now they're connected, and the reason that they're connected is because of you, right? So when you can add more of these elements as part of your program, you're going to see your retention skyrocket. And our retention and of our members is about 90 to 95%, right? And that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to building community, are there any best practices in your program that you install to build that community, make it like a part of your culture?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So, a couple things. One, is you want to have a community manager, right? So a community manager is going to allow you while you're at work, maybe you're not full-time yet, right? So if you're not, you have what's important about a community manager is that's going to allow, and let me kind of come back this way for you. So that's going to allow allow that person to stay active, answer all the questions in the group, do the customer support, continually help people. Because remember, you want them to have those 3 C's, right? So they're going to help that. So I would recommend as soon as possible getting a virtual assistant or some kind of community manager that can continually feed the community. But other things you can do is, you can do challenges, you can give away recognition and awards, which is something that we do. So like we have something in our group that we call, I have 2 awards that I give away on a weekly basis. One award is called the Batman Award. And I just like Batman, so that's why I call it the Batman Award. But basically, the Batman Award is you go out of your way to help somebody else. So if any of my coaches or members is part of our group, they go out and they help another coach because they won, or they say, hey, I'm doing a strategy and it's killing it for me. And you go out of your way to help somebody else or post something in a group, you can qualify to win the Batman Award. And it's just recognition for the group, right? Or you can do have another one that's called the Progress Over Perfection Award, where it's about making progress. It's not about helping people make significant income, right, or significant progress. It's just about how to get you're making steps towards the right direction, right? So just little things like that. So challenges, making sure people connect, recognition, things of that nature.
I love that. I love the Progress Over Perfection Award, because one of the things that as business owners, it's very easy to do is get overwhelmed. So tell me a little bit about, like, even when you have a lot of content too, or good content in your program, the more content you have, the easier it is for people to get overwhelmed, right? Because they're like, I gotta do all the workbooks and stuff like that. So how do we, in our own journeys when we're working with coaches or we're in course programs, but also in our businesses when we're overwhelmed with like, all the things I got to do, I'm doing back end, I'm doing front end. What are some ways to manage overwhelm?
Yeah, I love that. And overwhelm of your clients, right?
Well, overwhelm not of, like, for example, I've been in courses and group programs before, and I'm so excited and I want to do everything and I want to watch all the videos and I want to do all the workbooks, but it's easy to get overwhelmed because I'm like, I have all this stuff, So how do we prevent overwhelm in that sense?
Yeah, so I just drew something out for you, right? You got to have your own map, right? And basically this is a bridge, right? So with that, your whole goal is you want to, and this works for you, and this will also work for how you deal with your clients. But at the end of the day, your clients are coming to you at a certain point, right? And think about yourself so you don't get overwhelmed, right? So let me do it from your perspective, and then I'll tell you how this translates to your clients. When you coming in, anytime I'm joining something or being a part of a program, I need to know what the map is. So you should have any great program is going to have a map and say, follow this process, follow this system, follow these steps, follow this map, right? So you got to know where you're at, and then I need to know what order the map comes in. I don't need somebody throwing a bunch of content at me at once. I need to know what do I need to start with, because all content, depending on where you're at and your journey, is not created equal. So I need to know what's the first thing I need to focus on. Okay, got that, checked it off. These are the milestones, did it, done, good. What's the next thing I need to do? What's the next thing I need to do? What's the next? And then eventually, and I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it takes you a month. I don't care if it takes you a year. I don't care if it takes you 10 years. If this is the process, this is the process, and follow the process. And as long as, and anytime I'm joining a new journey or I want to accomplish something, right? Whether it was a point in time where I was trying to figure out Facebook ads. Okay, cool. What do I need to learn? Right? There was a time I was trying to figure out, how to get people results. I had to learn how to handle retention. Had to learn, right? How to get people results. Had to learn. So there's different processes in this business that I know I had to learn. But every single time I approach a new journey I'm looking to accomplish, I need to know what is the process, and I need to find somebody who's proven it and give me that map, and then let me go on my journey on that map. And I need to know where can I go to get support if I'm doing something wrong on that journey.
Yes, absolutely. Setting those expectations of where can they ask for help and what's the roadmap. And also in our own personal lives, just like you said, when we have different categories we're working on, like I'm working on even get more specific than just saying I'm working on my marketing. Well, but what part of it? Is it showing up consistently? Is it doing Facebook ads? Is it, being on podcasts? And then get your map for that particular thing, start it, get it going, and then you can keep adding more avenues or things like that. But
yeah. I love that. It's funny you say that too. I was literally just telling one of my clients this a few days ago, because he was like, yo, he said for some reason, and it was literally in relation to like sales. And I said, he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to make more sales. I got to make money. And I'm like, yeah, I get it 100%. And I said, but I want you to ask a better question. What part of it? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, what is it? Is it getting people to book an appointment with you? Right? Is it getting people to show up to the appointment? Is it getting people to actually, say yes to your pitch? Is it overcoming objections? Like, I need to know what part, and you got to be clear on what part it is, because it might not be everything. Same thing if you're doing webinars, you're trying to get people to show up to your lives or whatever. You might actually be good at getting people to join your program if they can actually get on the phone and talk to you, or they can get on the webinar and talk to you. But you just having a hard time getting people to register. Right. And then once you crack the code on that, then see what the process looks like. Take a step back and say, okay, people are dropping off. Okay, so now what can I do to increase the retention of people staying on my webinar? Okay, I got that. Now they're hearing my pitch, but nobody's buying. How can I create a different offer, right? Or better offer, or more urgency, or whatever. And then once that happens, I'm getting sales, and you move forward that way. So I love that. You're absolutely on point.
And having patience with that process, because you're not going to get it all nailed, every single aspect of the webinar the first time you do it. You are going to have to see, oh, wow, I had a couple people dropped off. Interesting. Now my thing is I need to figure out how to get them to stay to the end, right?
Right, exactly.
So what are some ways you manage your time in your business and productivity? And then we can go from there.
Yeah, I love it. So I think we might have been mentioning this too, right? Yeah, I think I showed this earlier, but this is what I use. This is like my Bible. Right, you can see I got papers coming out. I actually use it. So this is my book. It's called The Productive Lifestyle Planner, right? And it's a little kind of self-promotional, but not really, because I literally use this, right? But basically, inside of here, what we focus on is a couple different things, right? Is one, and it might be a little bit hard to see, but I have different things on here that says targets, right? So the difference between a target and a goal for me is more specific and more aimed, right? So what I do is I'm always focused on what are the top 3 projects that I'm working on at any given time, right? Typically, you don't want to work more than like 5 projects, but me to optimize, if I'm working on 3, that's good enough, right? And then I'll schedule my year out accordingly. So what are you working on? Any project that you ever say I want to focus on, I want to get X amount of clients, I want to do this launch, I want to write this book, I don't care what it is, right? I want to grow my culture program to this amount. There's just like when I said the map, we talked about the map, right? Anytime I set a target, I want to know what are the top 5 milestones that I need to accomplish. What is the map I need to accomplish that? Not necessarily every little single task. What are the top 5 milestones? Once I get that, and that's what these little things under it are. That's what these are, right? You can't really see there's numbers under there, right? So once you do that, and you know what those are, how I schedule my day is, all right, what are the activities or the most valuable priorities, what we call it? What are the most valuable priorities I need to work on each day to start checking off these milestones? That's your goal. You need to be checking off these milestones. And then what I do is once I put down my priorities for the day, and this is literally the first thing that I fill out. Once I have this down, I go to my calendar and then I start plucking those in my calendar. And then that's how I fill up my day, right? And I'm filling up my day with that. So literally just following that, I'm managing my distractions, etc.
Love it. Yeah. And when it comes to, like, let's go to your example earlier, Facebook ads. You're like, you know what? I want to do Facebook ads. I got to figure out my roadmap. I got to break that down. What would you say you'd recommend to coaches? Because I talk to a lot of coaches who either they think they need Facebook ads before they actually need them, or they've tried Facebook ads and they got burned from them before, so they're like really against it, or they, like, I just have a lot of people who have feelings around Facebook ads.
Yeah.
To hear from you, what has been your journey, and some tips you give to our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you should only be afraid if you're not taking the time to actually understand and learn and master it. Facebook ads is a testing game. So don't get in thinking that day one you're gonna start putting money out. You might lose $50. You might lose $100. We're gonna rip the band-aid off today. We're ripping it off today, Hailey. Right? Like you gotta go in already thinking that you're gonna lose that money, right? And I'm not being negative. I'm keeping it real with you. I'm keeping it 100 because you gotta realize that this whole Facebook ads game is all about testing, right? And so what you want to do and how you want to approach it is you want to approach it to what is my audience dealing with and how do I address their fears and their concerns and help them accomplish their goals, right? So my journey has been what most people's journey are when they first start. Like I started Facebook ads a couple years ago and just kind of tinkered with it. I see some people winning on it, so I said, okay, maybe let me start. And I lost money, right? I lost money because I didn't really know how best to help my audience. I didn't know how to really connect to them. I wasn't really sure about who to target. I was trying to target the whole world. I wasn't specific on the specific person I wanted to target, right? So that's why everything that we said makes so much sense, and it builds up to when you finally start spending money, it's going to be, you're going to have way more success if you understand who you're helping and how you're helping them ahead of time. So now when you go on Facebook, it's just really about showing more people. But if you can't help one person, it's going to be hard for you to put money in and help multiple people because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know the psychologists. You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn more about your audience. So when you start putting money into ads, it's going to build up. And that was my journey. And I started doing that and started filling up my calendar. And now we got it on autopilot where, you're just getting people booking on our calendar.
Love it. Yeah, it is a process. And I think any marketing strategy you want to take about, you want to have a testing period and you want to say, I know there's some risks to everything I'm going to do in my business, but I'm going to test this out. I'm going to work on refining it. I'm going to give it 3 months or so. I have a fixed budget that I can spend on this. And that's the way you go about it in a way that's not scattered and like shiny object jumping from thing to thing and just like throwing money down the drain and just that kind of thing. Right. So,
yep.
So anyways, one of the other things I wanted to ask you a little bit about is when you have a program that you've designed and you want to, I guess your client, I think a thing that we have to talk about is the client journey, meaning usually they come in at a certain point, and then the way you retain clients is you help them all the way through the journey. And maybe that looks like different programs as they keep progressing, or maybe it looks like they keep, when you say you had clients for 2 years, it could be that they reach a certain level and then there's always more that they need help with because they reach the next level. So how do you think about your client journey and how have you planned your offers around that?
Yeah, I love that. So we have a process that we call the product escalator. And basically what that is we take somebody who's brand new, right? And they just trying to figure it out. So they might come into our free community. So we got a free Facebook group for coaches and speakers. It's called the Coach and Speaker Connection. And you come into that group, you learn, and this is just where we go live every so often. People are connecting, people are learning, growing, giving advice, and that's a free group. Then you say, okay, I feel like I need some more momentum. I feel like I need to grow. So then the next thing that you do is, from our perspective, we have a course, right? We have a certification course. So you come into the course, you learn the foundation of what you need to learn, right? You might not even know what a lead magnet is, or you might even know what a landing page is, or you might not know about email marketing systems and et cetera, right? So you join this course to get the foundation of what you need to learn, right? And then now you in the course, I got the foundation, I feel good, right? I feel like I'm gaining some momentum, right? You may not be having all the clients, I may not have all the money in the world yet, but I'm learning, right? I got it, I got the foundation, and now I'm making progress. Now you need the ongoing support and community and ongoing training, right? This is what we call the PCS program. This is when I work with you on an ongoing basis, on a weekly basis in a group setting, right? And this is where we work together to continually level up and scale, right? And then after that, we have we got one-on-one, and then now we can work with something specific, right? And then in between, every so often, maybe once or twice a year, I do like a mastermind and et cetera, right? So the whole purpose of this journey is the more somebody makes progress, the more support they need. But you want to, and I love what you said, Hailey, in terms of sometimes that might look like different programs because you might have somebody who's super advanced when they come in and, they already been running Facebook ads. They already been getting clients consistently. They already been doing this, doing that. But they got somebody who doesn't know certain industry terms And if they're both in a program for too long, both of them are going to get frustrated, right?
Yeah.
One, they're going to get frustrated. That the person who's already got progress is going to get frustrated. Like, why am I learning things that are so basic? And people are asking these kind of questions. And then the people who are new are going to be like, oh my God, you're talking another language. I have no idea what you're talking about. Right. And I've went through growing pains like this, to where people literally quit on both ends. They quit because either they felt like it was over their head and they didn't understand, and they was like, oh my God, I feel like everybody knows everything and I don't, and they quit. And then I had people that was like, you know what, I think I need something more, because I feel like some of the information is just basic, or some of the questions are basic, right? So you got to make sure that you do have escalating programs, or at least your program is segmented in a way to where the people in different stages are getting the support they need.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even if you're the kind of coach who I want to fix their problem, and it's one small problem, and then once they're done, I mean, they don't need me anymore. There's still ways to, I think, form a referral program or things like that. Like, I don't think you need to solve every single problem in your client's journey. I think having a focus is always good. But I also think there's maintenance packages you could have, where if they need to come back and just like go back to the basics, they've had some things come up in their life, that's always a good thing as well. And then also forming referral partnerships, if you need to send them somewhere else for another problem, like that could be another good practice.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Right. Like, we bring on members all the time. Like, we bring on guests all the time on our calls. Right. So we meet weekly, and sometimes you got to bring on guests, so I'm not going to be the arrogant one and say I know everything in the world. Right. So I brought on people who went viral before. I brought on Eric Thomas, ET the Hip Hop Preacher, on before. I brought on Evan Carmichael, who's one of the top world's entrepreneur and success YouTubers, over 2 million subscribers on YouTube. He came on and he showed us some love, so I bring on people all the time who may have a higher level of knowledge or insight than me, and I'm totally cool learning. I'll be just like everybody else taking it, right? So
yeah. So one final question for you on that topic is because I know a lot of coaches listening would love to have cool guest speakers, but they're like, how do I pitch myself to that? Or how do I get them to come be a guest in my group? So what are some ways to go about that?
Yeah, the number one thing I would say is build relationships, right? And build relationships. Don't be afraid to invest, right? So invest and building those relationships are the two biggest things that I would say. So when we're talking about building relationships, one is being in like, if you're part of Hailey's community, right? And you have other people who are going to be willing to want to work with you, or maybe they might know somebody. They say, well, everybody's separated by, you can get anyone that you want with 2-3 degrees of separation, right? Somebody who knows somebody might be the exact person that you're trying to get in contact with, right? So, build those relationships with people that you already know. Like, you already have $1 million in your backyard, right? Meaning you already have $1 million worth of relationships already. You're just not tapping into them, right? So for me, it's about continuously pouring into people around me, helping people, giving back, right? Those kind of things. And then they want to help me as well when I say, hey, I'm looking for a guest on this, or do you know anybody like that? That's one. Second is invest. If you want to really get on somebody's radar, especially somebody who you feel like is either unattainable, or somebody who like you feel like has some kind of fame or influence or notoriety, when you spend money with them, they notice you. Right. So if you got the funds to be able to work with somebody one-on-one or work inside of their program, they're gonna know. Like, so for people who join my coaching program or work with me, I know who they are. I know about them. I know about their family. I know what they're going through. Right. So if they ever wanted me to be on their podcast, or they wanted to, work with me in some kind of way, if it works out logistically, I'll do it, because you've already invested in me. Right. And because I know you. Right. So it's going to be those kind of things. So don't be afraid to invest. So a lot of relationships that I have, I've invested in people already, like Evan Carmichael. Like, I've joined their programs. I've got them clients. I've referred people to them. I've spent money, and because of that, they're more willing to want to work with me and be guests on what I'm doing.
Love it. Yeah. Okay. So where can everybody find you, connect with you, and get to know you a little better?
Yeah, sure. I'll type it in. So it's at I am Terrell Jones, right?
Okay.
I am Terrell I am Terrell Jones, right? So with that, you can find me, and that's I am Terrell Jones on all platforms. The only platform that is not on is YouTube. It's just Terrell Jones, which we revamping that. But the platform that I'm on the most is Instagram. So you find me on Instagram at IAMTERRELL Jones, and give me a shout out. Let me know that you joined the podcast and you watch this with Hailey and I, and and what I'll do is I'll repost you. Right, you take a clip of this. Whether you're watching a replay or whether you're on live, regardless, if you take a clip of this and you put it in stories or you put it on your page and you tag me in it, I'll repost you. Right. So just let me know.
Yeah, me too. And I'm at Hailey _Rowe, HAILEY _ROWE. Tag us. We'd love to see the listeners and what you're getting from this. And thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, I love it. This is fun. I can talk about this all day. So this is my
I love your energy. I think that your story is really inspiring. I love that you have the 3 C's and your different systems and roadmaps. It's always fun. And we'll be in touch soon.
All right. Sounds good. All right. You enjoy. Right. Hope to see you soon.
Bye.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And if you liked it and want to reserve your very own free sales audit, go to haileyrowe.com/strategy-call to book your very own free sales audit. On the call, we'll talk more about the common concerns you get from your ideal clients, how to overcome those concerns, how to coach through objections, how to change your mindset around sales, and improve your sales process so you can be closing and converting more clients. I can't wait to connect with you, and go to haileyrowe.com/strategy-call to take the first step. Thanks so much. Have a good day.